I believe that from this point forward, any man who is not heavily invested in his growth as a man and in the skills of being a lover will not be playing the game. Those are the prerequisites to play the game of dating and relationships. To not have it, you will certainly settle or be single. Today, I believe it's the idea of a grounded man who is increasing in value for himself, wanting to develop stronger emotional connections with women and being a strong man. Women will still always respond to these things. To do nothing, to only work, and to not have these skills, I think you can barely play the game.
The reason that Andrew and I first met, you reached out to me. Like I said, I don't know. I didn't go back and look, but probably 8, 10 years ago to come on your interview show.
Yeah,
That was back before everybody and their brother had a podcast.
that's right.
And I think you maybe soon after that published your book. And I mentioned the other day, you and I had just a brief chat. The thing that really impressed me just right off about you was your hustle. And I mean that in all the best ways. I'm a big fan of hustle. I'm a big fan of men getting after what they want and not just saying, oh, I wish I had a podcast or I should write a book someday. You know, you started a podcast, you wrote a book, you wrote another book, you've created some great videos I checked out. You've interviewed some amazing people, you've helped a lot of men. And that's really just the core reason I wanted to have you on this call is that I just like that kind of hustle. So let me just read just the formal part. I edited down the bio that's on your website, but Andrew is the host of Knowledge for Men, it's his podcast, and since 2011 has amassed over 13 million downloads. Best-selling author with over 150,000 copies sold of The Dating Playbook for Men and the Breakup Manual for Men. So let's just start with just some kind of letting the guys get to know you kind of questions. So how did you get interested in working with men? And I guess that this wasn't in my notes, but what were you doing before that? What were you doing before you decided I want to be the Knowledge for Men guy?
I never wanted to be the Knowledge for Men guy. I never set out to become this. I never thought that I would be writing books, the dating playbook for men and the breakup manual for men. I never thought I would do a podcast or any of that. I had a girl in college that I wanted to marry, and I thought I had found the woman of my dreams. And she broke up with me in shock and awe. And in that moment, it led to the search, it led to the discovery, it led me to question what I was doing with my life. It led me to question who I am. And it just created this moment where it opened my eyes up to who am I and what am I doing with my life and where am I going? And that search, and driven early by the pain of the loss and watching her go off and date and be in a relationship in a couple months.
It doesn't take them long, does it?
It doesn't. They're locked and loaded, right?
I always say, every woman, whether she's in a relationship or not, is only like 45 seconds away from her next relationship.
Yeah,
And I go, I'm just teasing.
Could
It's about a minute and a half.
It's getting
so
shorter
that
and shorter.
that's what woke you up was you got hurt. You got
I
devastated.
got hurt,
So
and I was searching, and I just asked myself this question at night when I was super depressed and sad. And I just remember waking up, tossing and turning, and I woke up and I just grabbed a pen and pad just like this, a college ruled, and I just said, wait a minute, how could I make this situation the best thing that ever happened to me?
great question.
And that moment was the catalyst to shift out of pain and to start using this awakening moment to redesign my life and redesign what I could do with my life and who I could be. And I just remember writing and journaling, just going boom, 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 boom. I would love to do this. I would love to do this. This is what I've always wanted to do. And these are all things that I thought were not things you could do. These are things that other people could do. And I had to follow the script of just going to college and getting a job and just living my life in this way that my parents wanted me to. And this was 13 years ago. I've been on this journey since, every single day, journaling, challenging myself, embracing discomfort, consistently accepting journeys, whether I voluntarily accepted them or they were sort of just given to me, such as my father passing, and just recently, 3 weeks ago today, my aunt passing, which
Okay.
is the newest journey, and I'm the one who's looking after the trust and everything. And it's been a whirlwind, and these are journeys I didn't ask for, but these are journeys that I accept, and I continue to use them as catalysts for growth.
What were some of your earliest influences when you did start seeking, and that maybe your earliest influences that made a big impact on you and maybe still to this day influence and impact you?
You have
I
you
didn't know that was
you
coming, but I'll
you
take it.
you certainly have. I mean, I think that if anyone is involved in women dating relationships and they're helping men, I think your book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, is a flagship book in the industry. And I think that what you have created has led to many other creators to be
Mhm.
influenced, to change their lives, and to help other people. And for definitely, for sure. And that was why you were an early person on the podcast. I remember you killed it on the podcast, and I couldn't believe that I even had a chance to interview you.
Doesn't
That
hurt
was
to ask, does it?
I was asking, I embraced the journey, and anyone that had an influence on my life through the book, I would follow up with that author. And this was back in 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17. In this time period, people didn't know what podcasts were. Now you have, my brother's a high school teacher. Now that's what they put as what they want to become, is a
Yeah,
podcaster.
yeah.
And as sort of
We,
their
we
like,
we need we need more podcasters, don't we?
well, yeah, or a TikToker or something.
More TikTok
Uh,
influencers, right?
But all the foundational personal development guys like Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar and Jack Canfield and Tony Robbins, these guys were all influential. But the more I dove into the men's side of things, it spoke to me a lot more. It was hitting more to the core of what I felt was something that I needed to work on, including your work. And I just continued and continued. And it's how I am with many things, is that when I say I'm going to do something, and I don't say that to everything. Like, I know not to say yes to everything, and it's an emotional experience for me to commit, and committing to something, such as the journey of growth, such as the journey of dating when I was single, and the journey of being a lover, a great lover to my existing partner. These are all journeys that I view like the hero's journey archetype, and I love the hero's journey. It's what makes up all of the greatest stories, including religious stories, is the hero's journey archetype. And viewing your life within that archetype, and the challenges you're experiencing are ways that you can overcome almost any obstacle.
Yeah. And the hero's journey really is all about the calling and then the challenges and
Yes.
then the tools and
Uh-huh.
resources
And the
you
failures.
get, the fail, and then conquering them, coming home, and then doing it again, doing it again. I love reading
Joseph.
the Odyssey, Odysseus. That fucker didn't get home for years, you know. Partly his own fault, a lot of them, but it took him a while. All
Yeah.
right, let's dive into some of the stuff you do write about and talk about. What does your shirt say, by the way? Sit up just a little bit. So we say, stay grounded. So what is a grounded man? What's a grounded man?
Yeah, it's what my whole message has been, and it came from women, where I would interview women about sex, about dating, relationships, and I just heard consistently from women the word grounded as something
Mhm.
that they were drawn to, as sort of this masculine leader. And I kept hearing it from different women, from different age groups, and from different backgrounds. And so that I started using that back in 2014 and 15. And the grounded man to me is a man that is living in alignment to his values and vision. And so he's in integrity with who he truly is. And he can take a stand for what it is he believes in, or he can pivot and make big changes in his life to get realigned. And when you're living out of alignment, I think that's depression. I think that's you feel it inside that something is wrong and it's not working. And it doesn't mean that the goal is bad, or the situation you're in is bad. It just means for someone else that could be alignment, but for you that is out of alignment. And I find that the more that I am leaning into my values and vision, the greater my life becomes, and the more value that I can add to others. I also just feel good. I feel good when I wake up, and I feel good when I go to bed.
I love that. I didn't set out to teach men how to date or to write books on dating or teach courses. I didn't know how to date for the first almost 50 years of my life. And then when I found out, people said, well, teach us, right? But one thing that I found out in teaching men how to date is that using their desire to be able to talk to women, approach women, go on dates, get laid, those are strong desires.
Mm-hmm.
You can lead them through the deepest possible work. And I've often said that conscious dating, I think, is one of the most powerful ways is one of the most powerful personal growth machines there is out there. And so, like, as I was reading through your dating playbook for men, for guys that are used to what is mostly out there on the internet, for dating, especially dating aimed at books, dating resources aimed at men, there's a few breaths of fresh air out there. Of course, models, of course, be one of them. I hope Dating Essentials for Men is, and your book as well. Because I'm just reading through it. I mentioned to you the other day, I'm about like 40% through, and I haven't found one dating technique yet. Yet it is all about what makes you an attractive man, what makes you a grounded man, what makes you a man of value to women. What in a sense, really what makes dating easy, right? I think actually all the pickup bullshit, all of the tricks, hypnosis, NLP, polls, negs, all that, that's way too that's way too much fucking work. And it just makes you what I call a geek with techniques. It doesn't deepen you as a man. It just makes you silly. It makes you immature. It keeps you living in the nursery. But the fact that we want to um, expand our emotional and social intelligence to truly, make an impact and get good at dating means you have to deepen yourself, right? And as I'm reading through your book, it's easy to see your influences. You quote the Buddha quite a bit, which is interesting. It's easy to see the influences of David Data in there, probably of models of Mark Manson's work, perhaps my work. I can see you really turned to the people who had a solid message, not just ask them who lies more, men or women, or just the silly stuff that so much of it is, the peacocking, all that stuff. So I really like that approach. Be the grounded man, be the solid man.
Yeah,
So
I think towards the end of the book, I say that I tricked you with the title, and that I know that you wanted to learn dating, but what you actually need is to grow and become a stronger man that can add greater value and to really live in alignment to who you are, while at the same time you do need a strategy of how you're going to meet women. You cannot just simply grow and become this great value add guy, more successful, more social, all this, and women will come to you. There does need to be a strategy of how you're going to consistently meet women, but the premise is that you will increase in value as a man, and we will remove the neediness. We will remove the scarcity that stunts and repels you from the quality women that you want. And so I look at it like, how do we increase a man's value? Um, Okay, so attraction minus neediness, and that's your value. And I'm sorry, value minus neediness. So what is your attraction? So value minus neediness. Okay, sorry about that. And I'm literally going nonstop helping my aunt with lawyers and bankers, and so I'm
isn't
coming
it
in here
great
talking about
when you get
dating
a
is like not
you
where
get a
my mind has been.
glitch, the elevator pitch that you've given, 500 times. What was that equation I always give again? I see. I can blame it on him having a Joe Biden moment, if it happens to me. But okay,
Yeah,
you had your aunt pass away moment.
yeah.
So, well, let's frame this then. Um, both for men that are in a relationship that are on this call and the men who are single, because one of the things I have a whole podcast series on dating principles for guys in a relationship. And you talk about a couple of core things that I resonate with a lot because I talked about them as well. One of them, I love the grounded part, the solid part. You're integrated with your value systems. You're living by your values. That's what's guiding you. It's your North Star. But you talk about a couple of things in the dating playbook. One is just what I call about being a social animal. It just being having a strong social persona, and the other one is about being well grounded. Or no, excuse me, not well grounded, well rounded. Let's take the G off it. Okay, and I related to that when I was reading it because I know when I got out dating in my late 40s and into my 50s, again, I wasn't getting younger. The hair was going away. What I did have was gray. You know, I wasn't wealthy at that moment. I went through a lot of financial stresses getting out of my second marriage. One time I was driving an old Subaru station wagon. But yet I started having a lot of dating success. And when guys asked me what was I doing to have dating success, I had to really think about it. Well, what was I doing? And honestly, as I look back, there were probably several things that played in, but I do know being a social animal, I started getting out of my house and spent as much time get around and engaging with other people as possible, not just trying to find pretty women, not just going to bars. I was out in coffee shops to do my work, but I engaged with people. And the other thing is, I know I was growing as what you would call a well-rounded person because like every Sunday, I got a subscription to the Sunday New York Times. And every Sunday, I'd go to a coffee shop and spend about 4 hours just enjoying going from the front to the back. Even their obituaries. I mean, that's a cool part of the New York Times is the weekend of obituaries. And I know that because of that, I could talk intelligently on almost any subject: politics, world events, pop culture, books, music, sports. Actually, the New York Times sucks as a sports newspaper, but I could talk, and I know being well, that helped me just be more well-rounded. So what are some tools you would give both married men, men in relationship, single guys to expand that social, emotional intelligence, to be more well-rounded, to be more of a social animal?
Yeah. The social part is key for both if you're single or in a relationship, because I believe of pre-selection, and it's a part of just who we are as mammals and humans, that we're going to gauge your value based upon the perception of others. And so the higher quality people that respect you and respond well to you, the more that your value goes up subconsciously. It's something that we can't control. And to maintain that and improve it by expanding your social group, and this doesn't mean a fraternity of 100 plus friends. This really just means I'll break it down into just like your three core guys that you are doing life's journeys with. Three core guys in your life that you can reach out to and connect with and go on hikes and go on adventures together and talk about what's going on in your life. And then from there, there's sort of an extended group that is just a little bit bigger. It could just be another 3 to 5 guys that you're not as close with, but that they are sort of around orbiting your life that you could count on. And that's really it. And how do we create this? Because a lot of guys are like, I'm too busy, this or that. But we have to look at we're all busy. We have to look at our life and ask, how can we incorporate the things that we already want to do, the things that we aspire to do, the things that would enhance the quality of our lives. And there are other people there that are going to be like-minded. For example, jujitsu. I think every man should do at least 6 months of martial arts. It is, if you haven't done it, or if you have, I think revisiting that is jujitsu or kickboxing or one of the forms of MMA. There you will find other men that are on some sort of growth journey. Or if you're looking to build business, and surround yourself with the types of people that you want to meet and do business with and network with. But through these different arenas in my life that I wanted to simply do for my own growth, I met people there that had similar values and stayed in contact. Many people or many guys just aren't following up enough. Like you actually
Mhm.
have encountered many people in your life or at your work or at other places where you actually do have a connection and you do have some alignment, but you're not following up. And that is actually, I think, a skill that is slowly decreasing just across the board, especially with younger people. But for because they're sort of bred that way of just like using social media for everything. But following up and being, I'll say, you have to be creative. It takes creativity and leadership to build a strong social life. If you're single, then this is easy way for you to integrate quality people, quality men first, and then expanding and inviting quality women. It doesn't have to be sexual, but just bringing quality women into a social group will always expand the social group. Okay, you don't have to be wanting to have sex with everyone, but you can absolutely identify quality people and invite them into something that's already occurring. And the power of this is it takes off pretty quick, and you're able to experience more of life where you're invited to things. You're invited to this. For example, Green Day's playing in San Diego next week, and creativity. Everyone loves Green Day at some point in their life. We all love Good Riddance. We've all listened to this. We all love, they're playing the Dookie album. This is fantastic. Creativity would look like me identifying this. It'd look like me reaching out to my core group or guys that might be interested in this and saying, hey, we're all meeting here before. We're all meeting here before at this certain place. And from there, we're going to go to the concert. It's going to be awesome. But it takes creativity to make these things happen. And it takes courage because it is, people will reject you and people will not be available, especially as their busy lives. And so I always just expect 50% show rate. So I invite 10 people and I expect potentially just 5 people. That's actually winning. Whereas a lot of guys get discouraged because they're getting rejections at the last minute and they feel like they're not valuable, but that's just life. And so having the right expectations around like organizing social. And I would recommend that you have something that you are known for, where some sort of social event that you are a leader in. And it's like, I am the leader at who like I'm the leader. I lead hikes every Sunday. I do a hike every Sunday or every other week. I do this thing, and it's something that you can consistently be inviting people into. But the lack of this, the lack of a social life, especially strong men in your life, and continuously meeting new and more and adding men into your life, I feel is a significant decrease in a man's value and potential future opportunities in life. I believe that I studied history and I was going to be a history professor is what I really wanted.
Right.
And we look at the countries today and the nations today, and it comes down to allies. Who were the country's allies dictated many of the world's greatest outcomes, specifically wars. And little countries could have a big ally, and that big ally could dramatically save that country's life. And who are your allies in life? And the more allies you have, and the more that you cultivate in these allies, you're a strong force to live a powerful and vibrant life. And this doesn't have to be all focused on business and networking. To me, it's just like having good men in your life that that you can 100% count on through the thick and thin. And I think as men age, they lose that. And I think right now you can potentially be thinking of people that you've lost touch with that there was no reason for you to lose touch with. It's just life got in the way. And I would encourage all men to take up a creative sort of event or something that they can put together, even as simple as a barbecue, even as simple as just hanging out at the park and cooking some steaks, whatever. And then it's really the discomfort of organizing. That part right there is it's powerful. And for a man's life, I think that it's detrimental to not have it and to just be alone. And it's powerful to have stuff online. I have many people I've actually never met online, or never met in person that I'm friends with online. Um, but having people in your life is critical.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could
You,
tell
you,
you.
you, I hear you get
I could talk
excited.
so
You
much
get,
about the social because it's been such a huge part of my life and opening up what is possible.
yeah.
Certain people are good at certain things. They're just good at business. They're really good at health. Certain people are really good with women. Certain people are good at this and that. And you become like this Avengers. It's really powerful to have that. And then you guys support each other and tackle challenges.
I know that's really the same thing led to my success in many areas after I got my second divorce, is that I hadn't dated before. I wasn't good at it. And I don't know that I excelled at that many things, but when I got good at all these things you're talking about, being social, making connections, planning things, involving people, every restaurant I ever went to, I got to know the bartenders, the host, the hostess, the managers. And then when I went these places, they'd all come to greet me, and whoever I was with go, "Who is this guy?" Everybody knows him. And I continue to do that now that I've been married for 8 years. Right. And I'm a big believer that whatever those social skills we develop as single men continue to bring value to our relationship, because your woman still wants to know, my man's got it. My man's important. My man
100%.
is connected. My man is got things going on. And my wife is always so impressed. Like if I do a writer's retreat at my house every winter, and she takes the kids and goes somewhere, but she likes seeing who those guys are. I do workshops at my house. She loves it when the men are coming in going, "Oh, your husband's amazing. He's great," trying to speak Spanish to her. So I'm a believer in everything you're saying, and that's really one of the reasons I've built this community, is to build that kind of connection with men. Raise your digital hand if you've ever gotten curious about or got signed in to OnlyFans. Raise your digital hand. Digital hand. Digital hand. There we go. There's some, and the rest of you just can't find the digital hand button on the thing, right? Okay, I'm not trying to, out anybody here. And when we post this on YouTube later on, we will black out the gallery. It will not show. Some of you are thinking, "I'm not raising my fucking hand. I'm not going to be on YouTube." So, what's OnlyFans and why is it a problem? And we're gonna have to keep this really brief. So you got 3 minutes to tell me what it is and why it's a problem. And I know you got a video on your website, so we can
Yeah, I have a
always have people go watch
documentary.
it.
I made a documentary on each of these topics on hookup culture, OnlyFans, which is several hours broken down in parts, as well as sugar dating, which is like,
I did not watch that. I watched about a 40-minute version of the OnlyFans one.
okay,
All right. So just tell us what it is and why is it a problem? Like I said, I've heard of it, but I have even no clue what it is.
okay.
I can guess it involves men paying women money, but that's about all I could
It's
guess.
I believe OnlyFans is changing the dating dynamics with men and women permanently. I think that from this point forward, dating will forever be changed, and I'll explain why. Every day you have 400,000 men, mostly men, signing up as users. So 400,000 men globally in the world.
Globally, of course,
Okay.
globally. Yeah.
Okay, and we look
That's
at
a
the
lot of fucking people.
that's a lot of people, and you have about 5,000 models signing up per day, joining, like mostly women. There are men who do this as well, but why this is important, and we have to consider the age demographic is typically going to be teenager to mid 30s. You're not seeing a lot of 50, 60, 70-year-old women on there. So when we consider the how much of the population of that demographic is exposed to this. Now, it's not just them, though. It's their friends, it's their family, it's their cousins who are aware that this woman is making more money than she'd ever thought she'd make in her life. And this, I believe, changes dating because you have a woman who can now look at a man and say that I don't need you. Not only can I just go to college and get a job, but I could actually, and on my last single journey, which was several years ago, I encountered several women that were, I didn't encounter, I was dating several women that I was like, "How are you driving a Jaguar brand new? This, what's going on? You're not working." And then they tell me they're on OnlyFans. And then this occurred 3 times where I had women that were college educated that would have normally have taken a traditional route that got sucked into OnlyFans because it is so easy. She works 1 or 2 hours a month. She's working with an agency, and that agency will roll call all their models in that city to a destination. They'll use Airbnb to get a really nice extravagant location. They'll do their photo shoots. Some of them, they don't all do porn, but they're all doing risque type stuff, sexual stuff. They get all their content and they are done. The agency will then cut it up and shoot it out, and they'll talk to all the guys. And so you're in most cases that the girl's popular, the guy is not talking to the girl. The girl is talking to a guy in the Philippines or in India or in Vietnam. These are outsourced companies. And it's really sad because you have men who feel like they're having a connection with this girl and they're spending a lot of money. And that money is just enriching this agency and this girl. It's a huge, huge thing that it has taken over a lot of the youth. And if that's how they're viewing men, that they don't actually need to be with them, and or if they're not on OnlyFans, the idea, I've heard many women say this, that they could do it if they want. Now, that changes the dynamic because your value has to not only just be good, it has to be immense in order to date a girl like this. But it's not the trashy girl. What most people think is that it's the trashy girl who's doing drugs and needs to make money. She's a porn star. She's not. It's the college educated girl that is doing well in society, that had a good upbringing. But the idea that you could work 1 to 2 hours a day is, for any human, that is a compelling offer, and I can make more money. And so the girls that I knew who were not known, like you couldn't even really find them, meaning they're not that popular. They were making $30,000 to $50,000 a month in 2 hours of work. And so I find this very compelling, and how that's going to change her view of men, and how she's getting her friends involved. If that girl's friend knows that that's what she's doing, and she's working overnight as a nurse, and her job is horrible, and her friend is out in Bali, she works 2 hours a month, that's going to change things. And
All
it's
right,
happening.
tell me in 3 minutes why this is bad for men, what this is doing to men.
I'll tell you why it's bad, and I'll tell you why it's good.
Give us both.
Why it's bad is because it reduces man's value, and it traps men into getting an easy outlet for connection, but it's fake and it's
Yeah.
bought. I feel that the women are going to want a higher quality guy. She would have gone for the guy who did
Now,
it,
high quality, you mean a man that makes more money than her?
a man that makes immensely more money than her. The problem
Yeah.
that she has is that she's on OnlyFans, and a guy who makes more money than her doesn't want to bring home an OnlyFans girl to his family and close friends. And you also, why this won't continue is because AI will likely replace these women, because this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, specifically OnlyFans. And if the company can cut out the girl because she takes 70 to 80%, then the company will do that. The company will act in its best interest. And so what may
So why do we guys do that? Why do we pump all this? This shit wouldn't happen. It wouldn't exist
without men's
if it wasn't us dudes. I've heard guys complain so long. Women are entitled. It's not fair. A woman can just be pretty. A woman can just get a boob job, and she, can get a date anywhere. Blah blah blah. And I go, you know what? We created the system. We enable all of that. So why do we do it? One more minute before I want to give it, and the guys can ask you these questions as well.
okay.
But why do we do that? Why
I,
do we throw money at women who wouldn't give us the time of day if we met them on the street?
I think the interesting question here is, why do we do it when it's already free? Why do we
Well, that's a good question.
why do we spend money for OnlyFans when you can watch porn for free? So it's not about watching porn. It's not about a naked girl. It's about connection. And when the whole idea of OnlyFans is it's two-way, it's back and forth, but it's fake and false for more than 90% of those accounts, which is very alarming. And that's painful that a guy is wanting connection. So I think you have men yearning for connection, and they're
Yeah.
willing to buy it from women that they follow first on social media, and then from social media they take it over to OnlyFans where it's more private. I do think that this industry will implode, but the idea that women can make money very easily, which is sort of an extension of sugar dating, but it's virtual sugar dating, and way less risky. is going to forever be here because OnlyFans gave this idea of scale, of connection of your body and exploiting the loneliness of men.
So really, the bottom line, I've heard you say the word a few times, is connection. We want connection. And
Connection is what fuels the billion-dollar website and why you have 400,000 men mostly a day signing up because they want connection. And on Pornhub, you're not getting connection. You're just getting a release, and that's
yeah,
boring at this point.
I've always said porn is boring, and that is, believe it or not, that's the reason I built No Integration Nation. All the other platforms I've built related to No More Mr. Nice Guy is to connect men. I'm all about community. We need it. We crave it. We have to have it. And we keep chasing it in all the wrong places, in all the wrong ways. And so I know that's the work you're doing, is the work I'm doing, is trying to help men find true depth of authentic, conscious connection with real life people, with real life people. All right. This we could do this for a long time.
I could
Let's
talk. We haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg.
we could do this for a long time, but tell you what, we got about 30 more minutes that the guys can ask you questions about this. And so let's just move right into that. I'm going to pull up the timer. If you guys want to ask Andrew a question, really about anything, about being a grounded man, about being, as he says, a high value man, about dating, about hookup culture, about sugar daddy, sugar babies, OnlyFans, breakup. You know what? Honestly, I haven't finished either of the books. I read a lot of books. I interview a lot of people, and I told you the other day, I'm actually really digging the breakup manual.
Yeah,
The dating book, I go, oh yeah, okay, I agree. But the breakup manual is going, that's good shit. That's good. That's good. I hadn't thought about that. And I was
yeah.
actually sharing something I read in the breakup manual with one of my clients yesterday.
Which
Um,
was
was about actually I have the quote here. Um, that you must make peace with not knowing why things happened the way they did. And if you want to get back with your ex, closure is a subtle but lethal form of self-sabotage.
yeah,
And I love what you talk about when guys go seeking closure, asking the woman, but why? But why? Just tell me, just explain it to me. Let me understand. Let me know. You've all of a sudden made her start lining up all the facts in her mind of, well, this is why, this is why, this is why. And it
yeah,
actually makes the reasons more concrete. But if
yeah.
you just don't pursue it, just say, okay, that hurts. I didn't see it coming. I wish you well. She's now got to sit with all her own internal chaos. Well, why did I break up with him? And when all of her friends ask her, well, why did you break up? Well, yeah, I don't know, but didn't he treat you well? Yeah, he did. Well, wasn't he a good guy? Yeah, but why'd you leave him then? Well, I don't know. There was this thing, and I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. And they're all going to go, you're crazy. He's a good guy. Why'd you break? But if you've made her think about all the facts to give you closure, she now can give all those facts to her friends and family, and,
Exactly.
and they'll all go, oh yeah, it's good you left him. So
Exactly.
I love that. And I shared that with one of my clients. So that was just golden, just golden.
That book was written more recent, and I wrote the dating playbook when I was younger. I mean, the first version was 2015, and then 2019. The breakup manual was written in 2022. I think it has a much more mature approach, but I do plan on updating the dating playbook.
Well, I'm going to keep reading the breakup manual because I really, it got me off to a good start with.
I think there's a fine line between abundance, which I do support for a man who is single, is to have abundance and to have options and to understand what it is you want. If you're starving and you're in the desert and I offer you a Kit Kat bar, you're going to take it. But had you known that there were other options and there's a Thanksgiving meal, there's a bucket of KFC, now you can select based off what is most valuable to you. So abundance is important. And sometimes I think guys can take it too far because if you hone in on dating and you embrace that journey and you love it, and it's not this scary, dark place, this thing that you hate, which is what a lot of single guys their mindset is, you will eventually grow and your growth will turn into action, and that action will turn into results. You'll eventually optimize, and eventually you're going to have a lot of options. And a man can make a decision here. am I going to just use this power here, this skill to continue to just date and sleep with women and just do everything that I always wanted to do and continue down this path? Or am I going to align myself to the type of woman that I want? And what happens if a guy just goes into just too much hookup? It's going to damage the man. Eventually, too many women will, you'll have holes. These holes are going to come from all these emotional experiences and people that you cared for and that you were intimate with, and that they shared things about their lives with you they've never shared with anyone, and you as well. And these people were in your life for a short moment and then they disappeared, and that's it. And you keep doing that over and over again. And it starts to make you think that you're undesirable for a long-term relationship and that all you're good for is hookup and short flings. And the guy can actually start to atrophy his skills as a lover, as a relationship partner, as someone that can add, someone that develops a new set of skills inside of a relationship. Attracting a woman is important, and staying attractive is important. But there are skills in a relationship that won't get developed if one is solely focused on hookup. I think it encourages us to use people for short-term dopamine hits rather than the actual connection that could be created, and that the feeling of loss will add up. And I'm speaking from unfortunately some many experiences. I struggled with women all my life, and when I had developed these skills as they are, like playing the guitar, everyone can improve and be more attractive. You need to exercise them and you will improve. I went way too far with just continuing to hook up and get a rush, like a hit of cocaine from can I get her, and to pursue her, to get her, and then I am done. I have fulfilled my goal. Off to the next. The girl is boring to me now. And now women are objects of sexual conquest. And this sexual conquest, I think, is very damaging for when you do want to have a long-term relationship, because you are lacking in skills and your mindset and view of women is conquest. It is not connection and intimacy. So I I know I promote abundance, and I think it's important, and I think it's a fine line of abundance and being conscious of what it is you want and what's ultimately going to benefit you. So hookup culture is often what is happening a lot among youth, where people haven't even been in relationships and they're in their 30s. Short time, I think that it means that you lack self-love and that you're trying to get it from her, and that if you don't get it, then it's less to do with the thing you want, and it's actually become a part of your identity, that if this person doesn't do what I want or give me what I want, you are deeply hurt and you feel lesser as a man. Your confidence, your self-esteem take a blow. It has little to do with the actual thing you wanted. And so I think neediness, it is rooted in lack of self-love, and that I will get love from this other person. You're seeking validation. So it shows that you are not you, but just in this scenario, that something is lacking and you need it from her. And because of that, it puts her on a pedestal. She holds something of such great value that you have not given to yourself. So at the root, it is unattractive. It repels her. You are trying to get something from her. And where I'll say a grounded man who's living in alignment to his values and vision, he's growing. He has the capacity. He's getting his needs met through a variety of sources. He is growing and he is in alignment and he feels good. He can give, and it's like not about taking from women. It's what can I give? What can I add? Whether it's through my energy, whether it's through my charisma, whether it's through my sexual energy or my masculine energy. This is value. These are things that women respond to. And if we are lacking, we're coming from a place that she has what I want, or I can only feel complete through her validation. You have given her such great power over you, and she can't feel safe with that man. She holds the key to your own power. And so just at the root, and it's very subtle. And I think people are focused on the thing that it is that they're trying to get from the girl, such as sex. But if she holds those cards, if she holds that power over you, then she can't feel safe. And without safety, we now are entering an area where we lack trust. Without trust, we're not going to get into intimacy and connection. We're going to start playing games, or we're going to start just focusing on the physical of sex and what you do for her logistically, such as paying for things. And this is not a enough of a connection for a relationship to last and for it to go deeper beyond being a partner, a logistical partner, which I see a lot of. And I mean, I was just on a client call earlier, and very successful men often become logistical partners because you put her in a situation where she doesn't want to leave because she's logistically intertwined so much of her life with your providership. And while it is helping her stay, and historically being a provider has been always a value add, I think that it's not enough glue to have passion and romance, and to if if money is what's holding the relationship together, there's always another guy with more money who's in more pain who will spend more than you. So it's not a good foundation. It is one. I do think that this is a short-lived experience. Um, Ultimately, although it will transform into some form of AI or something. But what I'm talking about is, if we lead with money, we're likely going to lose eventually, but you'll likely be able to get what you want quicker in terms of some sort of connection, or more of her time and attention, especially early. But what women will have a very difficult time with losing is a strong emotional connection with someone. And losing that, and I don't think you can just be broke. I don't think you need to be rich, but I think you need to be a man who is progressing in his career and in his life for himself, and he is adding value to the world, and he is growing. I feel that the emotional connection will be the glue to why a woman wouldn't fall into OnlyFans if she's dating and considering that, or why she might consider leaving OnlyFans, because the pain of losing someone that she has a deep emotional connection with would be one of the biggest uh, pains that she would experience, and she couldn't see herself living without it. And so I encourage men to develop stronger emotional connections with women. That is the glue that is going to keep this relationship together. And the lack of it is surely the downfall of that relationship in due time, when she can plan her escape path to whatever it is she wants to do. So increasing in value, but increasing in the right form of value so that women will respond to. Um, I know it like I say it in the dating playbook, where I say I believe that from this point forward, any man who is not heavily invested in his growth as a man and in the skills of being a lover will not be playing the game. Those are the now, it is no longer, I hope that he has this. Those are the prerequisites to play the game of dating and relationships. And to 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 not have it, you will certainly settle or be single. And I believe that that point has passed. And there's other factors. I don't think OnlyFans is the only one. I think feminism plays a huge role. I think that sugar dating plays a huge role. I think the value dynamics of what a man offers and the idea of providership and protection has far less value than it did 30, 40, 50 years ago. And then even then, for millions of years, that's what man had to do. But today, I believe it's the idea of a grounded man who is increasing in value for himself, and that has is on a journey of being a great lover, is wanting to develop stronger emotional connections with women and being a strong man. Women will still always respond to these things. So to do nothing and to only work and to not have these skills, I think you can barely play the game. So I am very concerned about OnlyFans and its future, or whatever derivative comes from it. I think in the same way that it's impacted women, and that like there's guys can be aggressive and they can be on, feel like they're unsafe. I feel like it's impacted men in ways that have hurt them by stunting the very thing that allows them to grow as men, which is to take risk and to be bold and to do things that are uncomfortable. I think having an awareness of how a woman feels and her safety is paramount, but he should not act in alignment to what he wants, to what he values. And so if a man is single and he wants to engage a girl, he 100% absolutely should. But I think developing the finesse to handle the situation. I mean, I have done the cold approach for many years. It's a fun game. It's a fun journey. I think it develops the man in ways he never thought, that will eventually roll over into every aspect of his life to create opportunity is not harmful to others. And I think the more a man digs into the limiting belief that his boldness is scary to women, I think the more he will suffer. A man can always just back away and say, I'm sorry. You can always just, I don't actually encourage apologizing, but you can actually just bow out and say, I hope you have a good day. That is not a bad situation to be in. But the bad situation to be in is one, a man who lets opportunity walk by him. To me, a little piece of your masculinity died when you see, if single, if you see a woman of great value of attraction and you keep looking at her and you want to do something and you don't do it as she walks by and you look over and she's gone forever, that's a little piece of that masculinity that just you stabbed. To act in alignment is to still take the action, but be aware of her safety. Acknowledge that I don't always do this. I'm sorry, I don't actually always do this, but I saw you and I just wanted to say hi. You caught my attention and I just wanted to introduce myself. That alone will, the tonality of your voice, the positioning. Do you run and chase her? That'll scare her. Coming at her slowly and from the side, speaking in a tone that allows for her to feel more comfortable. Being aware of your surroundings, all these things can make her feel safe and comfortable while at the same time experiencing your boldness. If a woman does not experience, you can expedite attraction through boldness. You can expedite and get so much on one date. You can go so far with boldness and speaking in the truth of what you think and feel about her, about what you're experiencing. And I think men should not apologize, but I think you can do it in a way that is having an awareness of how she's feeling, that attuning to where she's at and what she's experiencing. It's like tuning a guitar. Like now you can hit it hard and it's going to sound well. And so you can be bold and it'll be felt. And that is this what we're talking about here, this boldness is what women are lacking and what they desperately crave for in every romance novel and every romance TV show on Netflix. It's
Women, when they find out I teach men about relationships and dating, the question they always ask me is, how come when I look at them and smile, they won't walk over and talk to me? Yes, well, you scare us. Well, and we're just scared, right? We're afraid we're going to do something wrong. We're going to upset a woman. We're going to end up a social media casualty. And we could, we could, and we still need to be bold. We still need to be bold. It's a gift we give to women.
Yeah, I was gonna say just the more experience, this sounds like a fear or a limiting belief, but just the more experience you have with the actual action of doing it and experiencing that, it's really not as scary. And most women are respectful and that you can have positive experiences, the less that fear will actually exist. I'm out here to add value and connect. That is it. I'm not here to take anything. I think just that she moved on quick, but really that situation in hindsight, means nothing really today. Like it's a story. It was true at the time. I have zero emotion around it. It's a part of my journey. It is a part of the wake up call and embracing the or answering the call to adventure. Um, the the hardest part may have been wondering if I lost best girl that I would ever get. And that fear of thinking that like that was the one shot I had and I will never get it again. And I have screwed up. And through the journey, through developing skills, not chasing another girl, but just through I am on this journey and I am single and I'm going to commit. I am going to own this. I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to identify my weak points. I'm going to find solutions and I'm going to go out and I am going to engage. And I'm going to engage and learn, engage and learn, engage and learn until I am dating and I have options. And from those options, I can then select the best option. And none of that would have occurred had I not gone through those breakups. So I think that fear kind of haunts you, but to let go of that fear and stop focusing on that you lost this incredible person, who in hindsight it was not actually the best, but focusing on the skill. Am I developing skills and am I progressing? Because through that, you will certainly create options. And through those options, you will select the best one. You will always select the best option. So to create option, you must grow. And growth is the essential journey for the single man. If he wants a high quality relationship, getting laid is different. You actually just can be weird.
All right.
I took a class. I was a part of a program at Harvard, and there was an exercise that changed my life. This exercise was for everyone to write down a leader that they absolutely just would never work for again, a boss, a manager that they would never work for again. Think of anyone, and a leader that you absolutely would work for again, and you would even take a pay cut to be a part of that person's team. We all wrote it down, and we had to go to uh, different area walls, and one wall was based off emotional in terms of the reason why you would want why this person was bad or why this person was good. And the other side was more like technical. I would work for this person because they were really good at the engineering or really good at the product development, marketing. And this is a classroom of about 100 people. 99 people walked over to the emotional side of the room in terms of why somebody was a good leader and why somebody was a bad leader for both of those outcomes. There was only one person who probably didn't get the exercise that went to the technical and was like, this person lacked, engineering skill. I didn't like that. And that laid the foundation. And I raised my hand and I said, wouldn't this apply to relationships? And the professor's like, yes, 100%. I was waiting for someone to ask that. This is not just a lesson in business. This is a lesson in life, is that people will remember you based upon how they feel about you. And where I'll draw that here in the 45 seconds is the power of that emotional connection. And often what it is checking in with people and validating their emotions. Can a person feel seen and heard and understood through you? Do they learn more about themselves through you? Do they feel like that they can be themselves as a little girl, as a little boy, and they could tap into a side of themselves that only you can bring out by giving them space, by listening, by validating, and sharing of your own realness, of your own vulnerability, and often taking the lead in that. But just focusing on logistics is not going to be enough to keep that relationship together or to be an admired leader.
Andrew, we're talking about what is our value as men. And yeah, traditionally it's been that provider, protector role. And I think a lot of us, we still think, a lot of the stuff out there on the internet is, well, you better be in really great physical shape. You better make good money. You better drive a good car. You better all that. But the truth is, women can out earn us nowadays easily, easily. And, the piece that no matter the women have bought into this mythology as well, that, oh, they don't need a man, that they can be self-sufficient, blah, 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 blah. But the truth is they do crave the depth of emotional connection. Even though they've been told you don't need to get married, you don't need to have kids, they still crave connection in the flow of love. And the man that knows how to show up, be present, be grounded, be conscious, be aware, be in the moment, be authentic, be vulnerable, be bold, that shit opens an emotional door for women that they go, what's this thing I'm feeling? I don't know what this is. Because, they've been raised that, oh, you don't need a man. You don't need all that love stuff. You don't need marriage. You don't need a baby. That's dependency. That's that. And all of a sudden they feel something when they get connected with a man that knows how to be present with them. And that's powerful. And
I want to add to that as well. Like once we're in that state of connection and intimacy, to then follow it up with a heightened level of sexual energy to introduce the dynamic of the vulnerable and the emotional, but for her to surrender into your masculinity and to trust in your next actions. And what I'm talking about is dominance. And now that you have the trust, and now that we are connected, women all I don't want to speak for all women, but I have never met a woman or heard a woman say that she does not like a man who can dominate her at times. Okay, we have to be careful of this on YouTube. At times,
this part won't go on YouTube.
Okay, in even a hyper feminist will still crave a dominant masculine man in the bedroom.
I've got so many stories about that. They're in charge of so many things throughout their day. They don't want to come home and have their man leave them in charge of everything else, especially in bed.